Hope this is visible now.
Yeah, now we can see it.
Thank you. Thank you. See, I'm sorry. I mean, you did not see this picture. This is a very interesting picture. Look at the picture. What I'm doing is, I'm sorry. I mean, I also explained about this diagram, and I mean, you simply did not interrupt me. You can always interrupt me. I mean, this diagram is very clear. So let us not repeat this diagram. And after this, here we were. So look at the picture, and this is the brain structure. You have already seen in the previous lecture: occipital area, parietal, temporal, and frontal area. But the second picture is very interesting. Look at the second picture. Frontal area, back side of frontal area, right side of the frontal area. Back side, right side, left side of back side. So look at the four cases: frontal area, left side, and frontal area right side. There are different types of brain signals which are recorded, which are captured. So you will agree that different parts of brain, when you watch something, when you do something, when you act something, when you perform some task, different parts of brain produce different types of signals, different levels of signals, different amplitudes of signals, different frequencies of the signal. That is very interesting. Look at, when you compare here, I mean, all these four signals are very different in terms of amplitude, in terms of frequency. I have already, explained you in the previous lecture that what do you mean by frequency, what do you mean by amplitude of EEG signal. Again, I will explain today, because I am beginning with understanding the brain signal little more. And there is third picture. Look at here. This third picture is talking about, if you can recall, I explained yesterday that the frontal area, this one, when you do some judgment, when you do some movement related thing that is associated with frontal area, sensation is related to this one, what is called as parietal, and the reward or memory appreciation or memory related or pain related functionality is associated in the temporal area, and the coordination is from this area, and vision, this particular yellow color. Different colors are associated with different functionalities. Look at the sensation here. Look at the movement. So movement is not from, what is interesting is the entire frontal area has different functionalities. When you are interested to study about the motoric task, how you are able to move your motory organs, and when you want to study, suppose you want to study about a person who is suffering with paralysis, the person who is suffering with some disability, the person is not able to move hands properly. Is it possible? The answer is yes. How to study? You will not cover the entire frontal area. You will cover this part only. So therefore, there is a lot of scope in this area. Which part of brain, which channels, which features, which electrodes, how many channels, how many electrodes, how many sensors are all very interesting, theories of the brain computer interface research. So look at another picture. I mean, this gives again a very good clarity. If you look at this bottom one, this is the frontal lobe. This is, direction has changed. This side is a temporal lobe. Look at the next one, brain stem, that connects to your spinal cord. Remember, brain stem connects to spinal cord, and this is just above that cerebellum that gives the balance, and then comes occipital. This particular area is occipital. So one by one, this diagram is explaining. This one is parietal lobe, and this the top one is explaining you about the neuron that you already know. When you study about neural network, you know it very well. There is a nucleus. From nucleus, some signal is transmitting to this one. There are dendrites. Through dendrites, other neurons are connected. So the first picture is representing the brain as a combinations of billions of neurons, and all those neurons are interconnected with each other. This is I'm just trying to explain you EEG signal. So look at this picture very carefully. The first one is the brain, where some amount of electrical signal is emitted. So those signals which are reflected as the electrical potentials. And what is interesting here, there are EEG signals 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These signals are what? AF3, T7, PZ, T8, AF4. What is the meaning? This is an emotive device. There are different devices which are used emotive. What I am using in my research is Neuroelectric. Probably it's a Germany based company, Neuroelectric. Neuroelectric EEG device is also a powerful device that I am using for my research. So emotive is another product that produces EEG device. So what are these? T7. T7 is from, T7 is a channel name, sensor name, electrode name. PZ is the electrode name. T8 is the electrode name. AF4 is the electrode name. AF3 is also a sensor name. So what is the meaning of T7? T for temporal. It means T7 is a channel from temporal area. PZ is a channel from parietal area. P8 is a channel from temporal area. Now, what is the meaning of this 783? Generally, Z is the center. Z is center, center between left and right. I think you can see me when I'm moving my hand. Center is denoted by Z. And generally, left side and right side are differentiated by odd numbers and even numbers. All the odd numbers will be in other side and even numbers will be other side. And between even and odd numbers, there will be Z, that is central point. So you can understand the location of those channels, and the location of those channels is called as montage. I will explain you about the montage. This is very important. If you can see here, montage of 64 channel, for example, emotive. If you talk about emotive device, emotive EEG device, look at what is the meaning of this one. This is the, look at, I hope if I can, yeah, just look at carefully. Yeah, I hope this is visible to you. And I see here that these Z, OZ, POZ, PZ, CPZ, CZ, FCZ, Z. So look at here, all Z are your center. And here, this side, right side, look at carefully, 4, 8, 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6. I have already explained you. Montage is a structure of the sensors. When you buy a device, you will get a structure. So all even number of channels are in one side and odd number of channels in the other side. And you can see very carefully, this P is indicated by P for parietal, P4, P2, P4, P6, and P8 are 4 channels from parietal area. Look at this side, P1, P3, P5, and P7 are the channels from parietal area, but other side of the brain. And you look at OZ. OZ is a channel in the center, occipital, and O2 is this side, O1 is another side. So O1, O2, and OZ are the occipital channel. I have already explained you what is occipital. Occipital is related with vision ability. When you are imagining something, when you are visualizing something, then you look at this particular thing. So, and what is another thing? PO7. What is the meaning of PO7? It's a interconnection between occipital and parietal. See carefully. PO7 means POZ, PO3, PO7. So PO3 is the interconnection between your parietal and occipital. PO7 is also interconnection. Similarly, look at this FC3. FC3 is a combination between frontal and central. This one, this side is a central area. And similarly, other area you can see something else. TP is temporal and parietal. So what I'm trying to explain here, you study any montage, 64 channel, 32 channel, 16 channel. Let us see 16 channel. Look at here, only 16 channel. This is a device. I mean, I think better will be this one. This one. And the device is emotive only. Look at the emotive device. This is the device where 16 electrodes are there. You can wear, if you want to count, you can count the 16 channels. This side 2, 4, 5, 3, 8, and this side 4 plus 4, 8. Look at carefully, center, there is no channel. On the right side, O2, occipital, P8 is parietal, D, T8 is temporal, FC6 is a combination between frontal and cortical, then F4, F8, and this side is all odd numbers. Now look at two more things, CMS and DRL. And what happens is that I do not know how many of you are having certain background of physics, particularly electronics, electrical. I think everybody has studied physics, and you have some basic understanding of physics. You need to understand potential difference. So when you calculate potential difference, generally another node is reference point and the other node is ground point. You have some reference point and you have some test point. So these two, CMS and DRL, are reference electrodes which are generally connected to ears. And with respect to those reference electrodes, if you are interested to know that how much signal is generated from F3, so what you will do, one channel will be giving you the signal from F3 and other signal will be coming from DRL3, and the difference between F3 and DRL will be the actual EEG signal, because it is always the potential difference. So let us not spend much. I just wanted to explain you that these are different devices which are available. I was telling you there are different bands, there are different devices which are available. Like what device we are using, I will show it. Neuroelectric, say 32 channel device, we are using this one. This is a neuroelectric, this one exactly. This is the device available with us and that we are using for our research. Look at carefully, see here written like the channel name T8. Hope you can see FC6, F8, and different parts of the brain. You just wear this cap over your scalp, and these wires, this particular area, look at this particular thing, where is this? Sorry. Okay. Yeah, this particular thing will be connected to your computer, where all those channels are bringing information to the computer. So you can capture your EEG signal inside the computer with the help of a device. So let's again go back to the slide. That the main thing which I'm trying to explain you is the EEG signal from different channels, different amount of different types of different frequency, frequencies are generated from different parts of the brain, which are collected from different channels. So that is about EEG signal. So this is just a comparison. When person is awake, when you record EEG signal, and when person is asleep, this is the EEG signal. What is the major finding? What is the major difference between the two signal when the person is awake and when the person is not awake? Can you observe carefully what is the difference? Yes. Let us not do one side, otherwise non-stop speaking from my side will make you boring. So let's have some question answer. The first one, the top one, is for the person who is awake, and the bottom one is the person who is not awake, who is in the sleep state. What is the difference between the signal? Anyone? The difference is yeah, go ahead. Somebody is responding.
I was trying to say when somebody is awake, there is much more processing happening in the brain, so the waveform is much more dynamic. And when the person is asleep, there is still a baseline of activity for maintaining you alive, I guess.
No, very interesting answer. I was about to answer differently, but you have given a very interesting response. And what is that interesting response? You are saying that the person is awake, the person is thinking about so many things, person is busy in activities, so a lot of things are happening inside the brain. So the dynamics, you used a very important term, brain signal dynamics is very much visible in the signal, whereas when person is not awake, the dynamics are not more, it is rather steady. That is one thing, and your observation is absolutely correct. But what is that factor I want to bring into your notice is, look at carefully, the frequency of the signal is very high when it is awake, and the frequency is less. Hope you understand very clearly. Frequency is very less when the person is asleep, and the frequency is very high when the person is awake. Obviously, you yourself mentioned that there are dynamics. There are dynamics. The person is busy in engaged in a number of activities, thought process, thinking process, number of tasks, so the frequency will be higher. Whereas when the person is sleeping, least bothered, almost at rest state, not much of activities, not much of thinking, and therefore the frequency is less. So the brain signal, especially EEG signal, is very useful in order to study person is sleeping, person is doing some task. If person is doing some task, if the person is doing some task related to complex problem, person is doing some task related to very simple problem, will there be difference? Answer is big yes. The person is at rest, person is sleeping, so the signal frequency will be very low. And if you remember, in my last lecture I was telling you, somebody is dreaming. You are seeing a dream, you are in dream state, and somebody is sleeping. You can say, Professor, dream generally comes while we are sleeping. But do you know that there is the difference between dream and the normal sleep? Normal sleep and the sleep with dream, the signal changes. The people have started working to study different types of dreams, quasi dream and different dream states. During the dream state, what does person do? What kind of thought process it runs inside the brain? The people have started studying. I have visited a lab. I will talk about that laboratory. They have dream lab, they have sleep lab, there I have visited, and I have some collaborator from that laboratory, and we have not yet started, but they are doing research. Rather, two PhD scholars have registered their PhD work in the area of what is called as study of dream. So the point which I'm trying to make here is dream can be studied, sleep can be studied, activity can be studied. And again, when you are not sleeping, you are doing some task. What type of task? Whether you are doing simple tasks, whether you are doing difficult tasks, can we find the difference? in terms of brain signal? The answer is yes. So this is how interesting it is. Look at the picture that, there are different samples which are coming from different parts of the brain with the help of different channels, different wires. Look at carefully. Very, very interesting. There are different number of samples coming from different parts of channels, different parts of the brain, and these are actually covered, captured, brought inside the computer. These are the analog data, and computer, that does not understand analog data, so it will have to convert it into digital data. That also we will understand little later. So can we define this signal, what type of signal it is? I have used that terminology yesterday. What type of signal it is? These signals are called as time series signals. These are called as time series signals. You are getting the signal as a sequence, as a series of data, non-stop signal you are getting in the time domain in terms of number of samples. And therefore, of course, I'm sorry, when I'm using the term samples, it becomes discrete signal, right? It's not purely continuous. We have already converted into discrete signal. And I hope that when you are interested to convert continuous signal, natural signal, which is analog signal, continuous is analog, continuous is natural. All natural signals are continuous, and all continuous signals are analog. Whatever we see, the intensity of a picture, the sound, the intensity, are all analog signals. When you want to convert into digital, what is the method? You cannot convert a continuous signal directly into digital signal. So what do? We convert analog signal into digital signal by, first of all, we convert into discrete signal by using the process called as sampling. We will understand little later. And then we use some quantization and we convert discrete time signal into digital signal. So this signal that you can see is the discrete signal. And look at this picture. I think this particular picture was included in the yesterday's lecture also. Gamma, beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Now let us understand what is this gamma, alpha, beta, theta. Look at the EEG signal. This is one EEG signal. Any signal you take from any channel, this is a composite EEG signal. Composite is a time series signal. But when you want to understand whether it is a high frequency signal, whether it is a low frequency signal, whether it indicates dream, it indicates activities, it indicates restfulness, it indicates good sleep, you need to decompose the composite signal. When you decompose the EEG signal, you will get different components: high frequency component, low frequency component. So look at the highest frequency is of gamma and the lowest frequency is of delta. I have already explained probably yesterday that the lowest frequency, which is called as delta signal, which is less than 4 hertz. Look at here, delta is less than 4 hertz, and between 7 and 12, sometime in some literature you will find 8 to 12, 8 hertz to 12 hertz. It is called as alpha signal. And look at 4 to 7. I mean 0 to 4 is delta, 4 to 7 is theta, 7 to 12 is alpha, and 12 to 30 is beta. And gamma is not included here. Of course, more than 30 is gamma. More than 30 is gamma. So the lowest frequency, look at the waveform, is delta. Then higher than delta is theta. And even higher than theta is alpha. And the higher than alpha is beta. Can we correlate with the activities? Look at the delta here. When you are sleeping and dreaming, generally delta signal is studied. Delta signal is studied. Look at theta. Theta is little higher than delta. Drowsiness, you are not completely sleeping, but you are feeling drowsiness. It means, you are in a mood that you want to stop everything, you want to stop doing everything, you want to forget everything, you just want rest. And therefore, the frequency is not very low, but the frequency is little higher than delta. I mean, you can clearly understand the difference between delta and theta. And then comes alpha. Alpha is related to restfulness, reflective. You are reflecting some thought. You are trying to keep yourself rest. Bring into restfulness. And little higher than beta. Beta is your mind is active. You are busy in something. And the highest one is gamma, which is not included in the waveform. This is for you are either yesterday also I have explained you are trying to focus into something, you are trying to solve a complex problem, you are trying to solve a difficult problem. It means problem solving ability, problem solving skill you are engaged in, problem solving activities you are engaged in, or you are trying to pay high concentration to something, you are trying to pay attention to something. In that case, the frequency of signal is very high. And this is the basis of acquiring the signal, understanding the signal, interpreting the signal, and classifying the signal. The last term is very interesting, classifying the signal. How do you classify different signals? Can you classify slow learners, non-slow learners, the people who are learning very slow, people who are learning very fast, the persons who are doing simple problems, the person who are doing difficult problems, the persons who are happy, the persons who are not happy, the persons who are feeling drowsiness, the persons who are feeling excited, very happy, the persons who are disappointed, the persons who are excited, the persons who are having anxiety, the persons who are having stress. Can we classify? The answer is big yes. If you find the literature, interestingly, when you search a research paper on this type of classification, in terms of stress classification, anxiety classification, sleep quality classification, there are not much work in the literature. Means people are still, doing research in this area. There has been significant amount, but not much has been done, especially in the area of stress, especially in the area of sleep quality. Why I'm talking about sleep quality, why I'm talking about stress again and again, because in the title of our course, there is a term called as sustainable healthcare. What is sustainable healthcare? You maintain a good health. You can only maintain good health when you are able to manage your stress, when you are able to enjoy your life with reduced stress, when you are able to enjoy your life with good sleep quality. And therefore, stress, anxiety, sleep quality, mind wandering, these are the factors which affect the sustainable healthcare. And the sustainable healthcare can be studied using BCI. And of course, BCI can also impact the sustainable healthcare. BCI can also impact reducing the stress. How exactly it can reduce the stress, how exactly it can determine the stress level, is all being studied by the researchers. So I will demonstrate some results in the advanced stages. Maybe, fifth or sixth day, I will give some examples, practical results. Look at this diagram very carefully. Just an example. See, there are different types of signals which are generated from different parts of brain. This is where the delta is generated, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. And you are capturing the brain signals from different parts using a wearable device. Wearable device where electrodes, sensors are there, and those sensors, the description is also written here. Silver chloride, AgCl. AgCl is used as a good. It is considered as a good sensor. Why? Can anybody answer why it is considered as a good sensor? Because silver has very good conductivity, and therefore you use AgCl or AgCl tips at the node of the silver. Not necessarily, I'm not saying that it is always used, but when you use silver chloride or silver kind of metal, then the conductivity is higher. And then finally, what you are doing, you can localize the source, you can do the cortical connectivity, you can remove the eye blinks. When you are blinking the eyes, you need to remove, and then you can classify. What is interesting is you can classify between the signals, that this is one category, this is another category. So classification can also be performed. So what is interesting is source localization. Localization is a very interesting term, and this is another interesting thing. And then after this, I will tell you a practical, some practical work on localization after this slide. This is the same picture where EEG is being recorded. Now, why I have included another picture? I have included another picture just to let you know the difference between LFP and EEG. EEG I have already explained, that is electroencephalograph. What is LFP? LFP, I have, I think this term was present yesterday also. What is LFP? Is local field potential. Why it is called as local field potential? Because in case of LFP, this you can see integrated circuit. Look at here, integrated circuit. This integrated circuit is inserted inside the brain with the help, you do some surgery and put this integrated circuit on IC, a chip inside the brain, and therefore you get the local information, local field information, which is much more better than the EEG, and that can be utilized for an application where you perform better cognitive ability, better, some rehabilitation, some kind of application. The agenda is you can use both the signals for classification, but you can also use some signal for higher end capabilities, higher type of cognitive ability, cognitive enhancement related application. So this is about the example of the EEG signal. So till now, what we have done in this particular lecture, we have started discussing about brain computer interface, but we just discuss about the brain signal before we actually want to discuss about the brain computer interface. Now we'll start our discussion with the brain computer interface. We will discuss about brain computer interface in terms of three different headings. One is, how does brain computer interface work? What are different types of brain computer interface? Active brain computer interface, passive brain computer interface. What are different types of BCIs, and what are the scopes of BCI applications that we'll study? But I'll just take you to some theoretical studies that we have done. That just I want to show you, so that you'll get some interest. Was my previous organization where I was working. Here we developed some Indian Knowledge System Lab, where you can see that we implemented the we did some project, and these were the research objectives. Let us not talk about this thing. We were working on this one. We were working on two big research projects funded by the industries. What is the title of first project? Artificial Intelligence Intervention based scientific study of yoga and consciousness for community wellness and augmented quality of life. And this was funded by the industry. Another project which we were doing, you look at here, this is the signal between the expert person who is doing a lot of meditation and between non-expert person. And this was the system we were able to classify. I'm just trying to give you an example. I mean, this work we have done practically. There are evidences. It's not like that there is no evidence. This is my own picture. And look at this device I was trying to tell you. This device is a neuroelectric device. I was telling you that practically we implemented this thing. We have studied different parts of brain. So this is related to some research work which was done when I was professor in this previous institute. This was my previous organization. These were students who did some some research intensive. They did some localization. You see here the frontal area, the localization, exactly how do you localize the channel and how do you get the information from a particular channel. That kind of work was done by the student. What are those factors which affect the localization was also done by the student. And then I mean we we visited some laboratories related to the brain computing research, consciousness studies, and this is related to mapping of montages. It is there in GitHub. Look at here. We did a one kind of mapping. Why it is interesting, I will tell you. 8 electrodes. Look at here. So when there is an 8 electrode, and when I click to the frontal area, look at here. So what does it in 8 channel device? Look at very carefully. These channels, FP1, FP2, FP2. FP1 is used for speech production. FP1, FP2, C3 and C4 can be used to study movement of muscles, planning and coordination, and movement related ability. When you are interested to study about problem solving ability, emotional control ability, then FP1 and FP2 can be used. Suppose you are interested to study about occipital. Look at here, occipital. So when you go to the occipital, then these are all complete channel functionality. When you are interested to study about anxiety, which are the channels which are used to study anxiety? AF3, AF4, P7, P8. When you are interested to study about schizophrenia, when you are interested to study about epilepsy, which are the channels that are useful to study epilepsy? When you are interested to study about bipolar disorder, when you are interested to study about depression, what are those channels? FP1, FP2, and FP3. So why I'm explaining all these things, that this research is not only theoretical research, but you can do some practical research also. These are the temporal area, and how this temporal area are correlated. The explanation is given at the bottom. T3 and T4, T3 and T4, when you want to study about analyzing of auditory stimuli, when you are interested about studying memory related stimuli, then T3 and T4 are used. When you are interested to study about learning ability, emotional control like fear, anxiety, anger, arousal, then you are supposed to study channel number T3, T4, T5, and T6. I hope it is creating some interest in you. So you might be wondering that, Professor, when we are interested to do some research in this area, we need to buy this device. We need to buy this device. It is not necessary. When when you can buy the device, it is always good, but it is not necessary. When you buy the device, what is the benefit? When you can buy the device, you can develop your own channel. You can develop your own data set. But when you are not able to buy the device, there are a lot of open source data set. For example, if you want to know EEG data set on stress, suppose you want to study about stress detection, there are data set on you see here. These are the data set which are available for mental state. These are the data set on look at here. There are different data sets which are available. EEG and ECG features during stress. So both ECG and EEG are included in this data set. Data set description is also there. This is the data set for mental attention. How can we study mental attention? This is the data set about stress using EEG signal. So what I'm trying to tell you, and why I'm telling all these things to you, that so that you don't feel that all these studies are theoretical studies. No, all these studies are practical studies. If you are interested to develop your own data set, do you know that developing a data set, EEG data set or any data set for a particular application itself is a research. It's not only you capture EEG and put inside your computer, it becomes data set. No, lot of things are involved. Lot of things are involved. I mean, if I want, suppose you are attending a lecture for 10 days and I want to I want to study your learning ability, whether your learning ability is improved or not. I will tell you that, okay, you come to my lab. I want to capture your EEG signal. That is not easy. I have to develop some protocol, how you are required to see it, how much time you are required to, how much time EEG to be recorded, how many samples, how many iterations, and that is called as protocol. What is another interesting thing is, human being, you are interested to capture a medical signal or biomedical signal. Remember, even the person is your friend, even the person is your brother or sister. It is not ethical to capture the brain signal. It is not ethical to capture the biomedical signal. You can say, Professor, we can get their consent. They can give us in writing that they do not have any objection when you capture their data. No, still it is not allowed. So what is important in BCI? Ethical clearance. Ethical clearance committee. When you want to do research in the BCI, brain computer interface, when you want to capture brain related data, you need to get ethical clearance. And ethical clearance committees will be there in the university, in the institute. They will give you certificate that you will be capturing the data for your research purpose. You will be maintaining the intelligence identity of the person. You will not disclose to anybody. You will not misuse the data for commercial application. All these will be the part of ethical clearance. So please understand, it's not that easy that just buy a device, capture the signal. You cannot do that with your friends. You just for a fun buy a headband and do the experiment with 10%. It's okay, but when you want to publish that data set, it requires the ethical clearance. So remember, buying a EEG device means having 32 channel, 64 channel, or 128 channel is an expensive device. I don't know whether University of Sanyo in any laboratory it has that EEG device or not. I do not know somebody who is working in University of Sanyo in the area of biomedical or not. If somebody is working, it would be really great. When I'll be there in the university, we can visit that lab, and we can see the equipment, and understand its working, and we'll also understand what we can do with that equipment. And suppose that equipment is not available, the best thing is get the open source data. Start your research with open source data. No need of ethical clearance, no protocol, no questionnaire, nothing. Just get the brain data available as an open source, implement it, and try to improve some methodology, try to improve the classifier, try to improve the ML model. That itself becomes research. So that is one thing that we can always do with the readily available data set in the open source platform. Otherwise, one can also develop their own data set using EEG or biomedical devices. So with this background related to biomedical signal, let us begin with understanding how does it work, what are different types of BCI, and what are the scopes of BCI. So as far as working of BCI is concerned, as we have already covered, the BCI working is very same. It whenever there is some thought process, whenever there is some stimuli may be from a from a scene, from a picture, from an audio, from anything, from a mood. So something that is recorded, it is captured, it goes to pre-processing. You pre-process to make your signal appropriate, to reduce the artifact, to reduce the noise. You extract the features, you classify the features, and you go to application interface. You have some control signal that can be connected. You can also give that feedback. So this diagram is repeating again and again. What is new thing? It is not new at all. BCI works in this manner only. Brain is connected with computer. You get the brain signal with the help of biomedical device, bring inside the computer. You use the mathematical model, you use the mathematical algorithm, you use the signal processing method to understand, to interpret the signal, and to translate that signal into command. And then that command is utilized in the application. The application may be like anything. You want to do something when you want to diagnose some disease, you want to operate some brain tumor, you want to detect the brain tumor, you want to deal with epilepsy, you want to study the Parkinson's disease. All the applications will have this common typical flow diagram as a closed loop. All right. Suppose somebody is saying something, you want to understand what he is saying, you want to interpret. That is possible, and this is possible by BCI, right? And this diagram again is not new. Again, the same thing where what it has done is brain computer interface. It has separated different stages. This complete stage is called as signal processing stage. This is acquisition stage. This is application interface stage. And application interface stage interfaces between signal processing and the applications. Applications can be multiple applications. So this is a working concept where the BCI converts the neural signals received from brain into action, into commands. BCI decodes the signals and translate them into meaningful commands to act on an output device to accomplish the user's intention. If somebody wants to do something, the person can do it. If you want to operate drone, with your brain, it is doable, it is achievable. Either with the help of some remote control you can do, or suppose you want to do with the help of your brain. You just think that, I want to fly it little higher, I want to fly it little lower, you want to fly in the left side, in the right side. All this is possible. You need to decode the brain signal, and you need to generate certain commands, and those commands can be given to these drones which are flying with the help of wireless interface. And with the help of wireless interface, you can control those things. So therefore, the brain computer interface is very useful for people, especially with some disabilities or disorders. It is useful for the persons who are suffering with some paralysis to regain control of their limbs. Those who are not able to walk, those who are not able to move their hands, those who are not able to move their legs. This is very useful. BCI can help them to express their thought, can write text using cursor. They'll just put a cursor on a dot and they want to write something. Automatically computer will write. Then can spell a computer on a screen. And also soldiers in an army can control the drone swarms, the drone swarms which are used for different applications in war. That is also possible. As far as the application of BCI in healthcare is concerned, you already know about. I have already explained many times. Detection and diagnosis. You can detect tumor. You can detect brain disorder. One can detect brain disability, sleep disorder, sleep disability. All these things can be studied by using brain signal. So one can prevent, one can detect, one can diagnose, one can rehabilitate, one can restore certain functionalities of the organs of human being with the help of brain signal. And The mental state monitoring, you can monitor the mental state, different mental states of human brain. It is used to predict and detect health issues such as abnormal brain structure, like brain tumor. Is there any seizure? Is there any brain tumor? Is there any epilepsy? All these can be done using the BCI in the healthcare application. The brain stroke, disability, and psychological disorder can be corrected by using rehabilitation and restoration technique. I will give example of psychological disorder. Can anybody give any example of psychological disorder? Anybody? What do you mean by psychological disorder? It is not exactly, a very much challenging thing, but it is of course a disorder. Any example of psychological disorder?
Bipolar disorder, OCD, ADD,
Yes.
ADHD.
Very good. I mean, these are good examples. ADHD is, attention deficit hyperactivity. You are saying bipolar disorder, and you are saying, obsessive compulsion disorder. You are particular about some particular, you are the only person who can detect some abnormality. You are the only person who can detect something is wrong. Other persons are generally ignoring. That is also disorder, psychological. But I'll give you some other examples which are even simpler examples. You have some fear of darkness, fear of darkness. When there is dark, you are afraid. That's a psychological disorder. You are having phobia of height. You are in a high rise building. When you look at the down ground floor, you are fearful. So that, I mean, you'll fall. What will happen when you fall down from the building? So this phobia, fear, anxiety are all psychological disorder. Somebody says that, there is a darkness. So inside the darkness there is somebody, who may kill you, who may attack you, which is not true. But psychologically it is, you know affecting you. So why rehabilitation and restoration? That can be corrected. How it can be corrected? I told you, and I think whatever I have explained now, you can understand little. I mean, to some extent, how there are persons who do not have phobia of height. There are persons who do not have any fear of darkness. Get their brain signal, and those who are having fear, phobia related to height, darkness, water, get their brain signals, find out the difference, and find out which is the area in a person who is suffering with some psychological disorder, and what is the what is the difference in terms of EEG signal between normal person and a person who is suffering with psychological disorder. Find out the difference, and that equivalent difference signal, the difference signal, equivalent feedback signal, either in the form of, movie, either in the form of picture, either in the form of audio, either in the form of some sensation, can be produced and can be fed back to the person as a rehabilitation, and the persons can be cured. I don't know how many of you have seen the movies where the person undergoes with phobia, huge amount of psychological disorder. Somebody very close to some person dies. Somebody, some person lost his or her relative. It becomes a psychological disorder. Some accident happens, some unseen situation happens with some person, the person suffers with psychological disorder. In a movie you might have seen that the same situation, same scene is created in front of a person, so that the same kind of signal is generated inside the brain, and he can recover. For example, a person is, afraid of dogs. Whenever the person sees the dogs, he is afraid of. the dog, might, bite the person. The person is afraid of. So sometimes what can be done? Suddenly a dog comes in front of him in his room, and the room is locked, and some excitement, some stimuli is generated inside the brain, and many times that recovers that particular area of the brain. This is what is called as handling with psychological disorder. And do you know that BCI is also used to address such difficulties? And therefore, look at carefully: brain stroke, brain disabilities, psychological disorders are also handled and are under rehabilitation or restoration. You are restoring the ability. The ability has been lost inside the brain, and that you are trying to restore. And rehabilitation and detection and diagnosis and prevention. I mean, smoking, alcohol, motion sickness. You might be wondering, Professor, how is smoking matters here? How alcoholism matters here? You can say that, you can you can create awareness. You can capture brain signal of those who are, alcoholic, those who are chain smokers, and those who are non-smokers. You can say that, see, those who are smokers, the amount of stress is higher. I'm not saying this is true. You can say that the amount of stress is higher, anxiety level is higher, the computational ability is becoming lower when the people are more smokers, chain smoker. Those who are less smokers or those who are non-smokers, their critical thinking ability is higher, the stress level is little lower. I'm just giving example. So you can create a model, you can get the scientific finding, scientific result, and then you can say that this is the result which I have obtained from my studies. And then you can publish that result with the help of scientific magazine or journal. People will read, and it will create awareness. No, smoking is not good for health. So it will help you to prevent the disease that is affecting the brain due to the smoking or alcoholism or something like that. So these are the three areas: prevention by using uh, appropriate awareness with the help of scientific finding resulted by brain computer interface experimentation. Second is detection and diagnosis of tumors, disorders, sleep disorder, sleep quality. Is there any sleep disorder? Or lastly, rehabilitation. Let me spend 2 minutes on sleep disorder. I have visited a laboratory called a sleep lab in one of the research lab in India. I have included the pictures of that lab. Is coming in next slide or next lecture. So what do they do? They'll call the people. They'll say that go to the sleep, normal sleep. And when the person is sleeping, they will capture the EEG signal. And then later they will ask, are you suffering with some problem? Do you have many mental stress? Do you have any other difficulty? All those things are also recorded in addition to the brain signals, and then they correlate the person who is healthy. What is the nature of sleep? What is the nature of brain signal? The person who is not healthy, the person who is in tremendous stress, the person who is undergoing anxiety, what kind of sleep quality in terms of brain signal. So this is how sleep disorder can be detected, sleep disorder can be diagnosed. So I think this point, I mean, we have another 3 to 4 minutes. We'll stop here with a very interesting slide. I mean, this is I have taken from IEEE paper. This paper says that it's been reported that from 25 to 50% of cases of adult mental illness in adults may be prevented through early intervention in childhood. How can you do it? Until you detect it. So you have to detect. And another survey says that graduate students have an 8 times higher rate. Remember, 8 times higher rate of severe depression and anxiety. So what is the method of dealing with it? You can prevent at early stage. You can do early intervention, otherwise treatment starts and then recovery begins, and then you have to have maintenance, long-term care, long-term treatment. So better is to prevent at early stage. And how to do it? To create awareness with the scientific finding. If your brain signal is like this, if your EEG is like this, you might be affected with this particular problem. Go to the doctor, go to the psychologist, start your treatment, do some mindfulness practices, do some positivity, causing practices that can help you, that can cure you, like that. One can begin with. So with this positive note, let me stop here, and we have some 3 to 4 minutes left with us. If somebody, two have already left the meeting. If those who are present have some doubts, you can ask me. Yeah, anybody, any question?
I have curiosity. Is everything was very, very interesting and clear. But I was wondering about the efficiency of the diagnostic power of the EEG about the disorder, the psychological disorder. So ADHD, ADD, everything that now is based on surveys and questionnaires and subjective, methods of diagnostics. So why is not used?
Good question. Excellent question, I can tell you. Thank you for asking this question. It will take 2 to 3 minutes to answer this question, right? We have not yet covered, isn't it? But you are saying the lecture is looking very interesting, but 2 to 3 people have already left the lecture. I don't know whether the lecture is interesting or not. But when you're saying interesting, thank you for that. I don't know whether it is interesting or not. But your question is very interesting, I can tell you. Why it is interesting? You are saying efficiency of classification, whether attention deficit are there or not, any classification efficiency, whether it is good or not, it is based on surveys, it is based on questionnaire. No, that is non-scientific method. You are just asking so many people, are you suffering, are you not suffering, how much anxiety, how much less anxiety. You are asking some questionnaire, you are doing some survey. It is completely psychological study, and psychological study is not good. Efficiency is very poor. Whenever you say EEG, asking questions, when you are conducting some survey, people are responding. People may not respond, truth. People may not respond the correct answer. Brain doesn't speak lies. So when you capture EEG signal, when they are responding, correlate their responses with the brain signal. Remember, brain does not speak, untruth. Brain does not tell lies. So when the persons are responding, I'm just adding to your point that you are saying that surveys and questionnaire which are floated to the people and people are giving their responses. How can we trust? No, don't trust. Correlate with the EEG signal. When they are responding some questionnaire, when they're responding that the stress is less, the stress is high, they have good sleep quality, they have poor sleep quality, correlate with the brain signal, and then come with the scientific evidence. And by the way, much has been already done. My own scholars have done some 2 to 3 good papers in terms of classification between a normal person and abnormal person in terms of EEG signal. So I'm going to definitely demonstrate those results, give you those results. Present those results in my next PowerPoint. But it will be probably in fourth, fifth, sixth lectures, not in third lecture. Tomorrow's lecture. Hope I could answer your question. Federica.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So I think it's already, time is over. Any other question? Otherwise, we'll close. Any more question, please? Time is over, so no question. Just like that. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Right. And tomorrow, same time, we'll join for this lecture. Tomorrow will be third lecture, and after that, I'll send you some resources, some links for your homework. Just go through those resources and links. I'll be guiding you how to do that. No need to worry. Take it very easy. Take it very lightly. Thank you so much. Bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.